Please welcome to the stage CEO and co-founder of Collision and Web Summit, Paddy Cosgrave.
I'm not Paddy Cosgrave. I wish I was Paddy Cosgrave. But so my name is Sunil Sharma. I'm the co-host of Collision and the managing director of Techstars here in Toronto. So good morning. It's incredible that it's already day 3. This conference has just been amazing. Coming up today on this stage, world-famous DJ Steve Aoki, many of the world's top venture capital investors like Eric Paley and Mike Maples, and of course, the pitch finals, which will be here at 12:40 p.m., featuring the 3 top companies that attended Collision this week. Our first speaker oversees the gaming studio that produces one chart-topping hit after another, from FIFA to Apex Legends. EA reaches more than 300 million consumers around the world, and they believe that the power of play has never been more important for society. So now she's here to both show us and to tell us how creative new experiences are redefining the future of entertainment. Please, let's hear it for EA's Chief Studios Officer, Laura Miele.
Thank you, Sunil. Thanks. Good morning, everyone. Gosh, what a privilege it is to be here. I'm Laura Miele, and I think I have the best job of anyone here. Now, I'm not saying that to make anyone feel bad, but I think I just got really lucky. I work with the largest collective of game creators in the world. I have access to the largest network of players on the planet, and when I go to work, I get to play every day. So as you would expect, we're going to talk about games. But first, I have a confession. Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to talk about society, our future, and games. But I need you to know that I am an unwavering optimist. I believe everything's going to be okay. And I believe that our future is going to be better than our past. And I'm going to start with sharing with you someone who was a point of inspiration for me. Warren Buffett. So this is probably an unlikely hero and not someone you expected to see in a video game presentation. But he is also an eternal optimist. And he inspires confidence in the future. He believes that this current generation of babies are the luckiest crop in the world. And I couldn't agree more. Not only do I believe that they're the luckiest crop, but I believe that they will be a great generation at a pivotal point in our history. So you may be sitting there asking, why? Why, optimistic gamer lady, do you think that this world is going to be better than where it is today? Things seem pretty grim right now. There's great political divide, climate change, fighting, toxicity, data privacy issues. The list goes on. Well, I'll tell you why. And it might be a surprise to some of you, and for others you will say, well, it's about time. I believe that our future will be better than our past because of millennials and Generation Z. Yes, I said it. And I realize this may be a contrarian view for some of you, given how many people have a negative opinion about millennials and Gen Z. They're self-centered, they're entitled, they're not prepared for the world's problems, they're addicted to technology. Well, on the flip side, I don't think millennials and Gen Z are too thrilled with the world that they're inheriting either. I was driving home with my son, he's 14 years old, in high school, so he's getting into political topics and government classes, and we're listening to the radio, and a newscaster came on, and they were talking about some ridiculous tweet that happened to happen that day, and then they went in to talk about budget deficits. And my son took a deep sigh, and he stared out the window, and he said, "We are sure inheriting a mess." Wow, from a 14-year-old. But where some see pessimism, I actually see great promise. And I see great promise because I have the privilege and perspective of 23 years in entertainment. I have the insights from decades of research and the data of hundreds of millions of gamers. My deep-rooted optimism is based on the belief that these generations will change the world for the better because of the power of play. So let's explore the differences in generations, who are digital native versus, well, who are not digital native. So let's imagine a world that is shaped by this little girl. She will not only be raised on technology, but on social interaction, on joint problem solving, and on games. Gen Z and millennials were born and raised on games. Now I'm going to rattle off some statistics to ground you in this. 90% of teenagers play games. 70% of teenage male Gen Z identify with core gaming as the core of who they are and their social life. 7 out of 10 people who are online in China play games. In China, 7 out of 10. And 0 out of 10 Gen Z teenagers would prefer TV over their devices. 0. So perhaps the significance around Gen Z and millennials is their preference for interactive entertainment over passive entertainment. And let's talk about what that will mean for our future. What does it mean to have gamed your entire life? The impact of interactive entertainment on an individual is profound. It impacts the way people learn, the way they engage with the world around them, and how they problem solve. In fact, I believe it is potentially one of the largest differentiators among generations ever. So let's deconstruct passive entertainment versus interactive entertainment. And there's a big difference. Passive entertainment puts you into kind of an autopilot mode. It's often solitary. It helps you escape out of the world. And it requires no thought, no problem solving, no creativity to progress. Now let's think about interactive entertainment. Very different. It pushes you to perform. It pushes you to win. It pushes you to your optimal performance. Nothing lights up the brain like play. And we are heavily influenced by the entertainment and media we consume. We are what we hear. We are what we watch. We are what we play. And play is essential to a healthy society and to the relationships we build with each other. Researchers say that the opposite of play isn't work, but it's depression. And this has been true for thousands of years. In today's divisive world, games are a powerful way to bring people together and help us feel like we're part of something bigger. The explosion of esports and mega hits like Fortnite and Apex Legends are a testament to the demand of hundreds of millions of players wanting this type of experience. They reveal the incredible ways that gaming builds social connections virtually and in real life. So let's talk specifically about the power of play. I'm going to cover off 3 cognitive buckets, if you will, and take you through how gaming influences how people show up in the world. There's collaboration and partnership, critical thinking and problem solving, and then empowerment and agency. So the first example I'm going to use Fortnite and Apex Legends. Now these mega hits, you are fighting for survival on a single map in a timed setting. Many of you, I'm sure. Can I have a show of hands in the audience how many people are playing Fortnite and Apex Legends? Okay, you get it, you know. So you start out with nothing. You need to scour the map for weapons, ammo, health packs. And in the case of Apex Legends, you actually team up with 2 other people. So there you are, a squad of 3, out there, you're plotting, you're strategizing, you're communicating, you're sharing weapons, you're fighting against all these other people, and you go out to win together. Super fun. And our studies show that those who choose to play with 2 other people or more have a far higher tendency to collaborate and partner outside of games than not. Now the next area is critical thinking and problem solving. Now we all know, games are created to solve puzzles and problems and fight smart AI. But what's really interesting is when things that happen inside of the game actually play out in the real world. We at EA have a franchise called Madden NFL. It's a deep simulation of American football. And what we have seen is Coaches at the high school, collegiate, and professional levels actually assign playing Madden to their athletes so they can learn intricate offensive and defensive play calls and game strategies. Playing games is proven to enhance critical thinking, judgment, and the ability to creatively solve problems. So the last area is empowerment and agency. And I'm going to use The Sims. So players that play in The Sims have complete control and creative self-expression to create a world that they want to live in. We have countless examples of players creating an environment in the game to explore their true selves. Players have actually shared stories about how they've come out with confidence and pride to their family and friends thanks to the scenarios they created for themselves in The Sims. It's powerful stuff. And what we see, and our studies have shown, is that gamers in general are more hopeful and optimistic as people because they believe they can change the world around them. And guess what? They do it in their games every day. So let's summarize. Critical thinking, collaborative problem solving, empowerment, hopeful, confident. This is amazing. Sign me up. We need more people in the world with these skills and experiences. We need them in our workplaces. We need them in our families. In my case, we need them in our government. The future will require and reward people who think differently. And that's where games play a significant role. A generation raised on games is just going to think differently about problems and how to solve them. And as this quote from Einstein suggests, it's going to be quite necessary. They didn't create the problems we have, but millennials and Gen Z will be well-equipped to fix them. There's something else to consider, too. The world is changing at a rapid pace. The World Economic Forum recently reported that 65% of students in primary school will work in jobs eventually that don't even exist today. So they're going to have to learn how to adapt. They're going to have critical thinking, great judgment, because the world is going to change around them so rapidly. And gamers do this better than anyone. So now that we've talked about the benefits of gameplay and the implications for our future, let's go back and talk about that really fun job of mine and what the future holds for games. It also fuels my immense optimism for the future. So I get to spend my days with some pretty special people. Our designers, our artists, our engineers, our producers are some of the most creative and inspired people on the planet. We also have the gift, and it is a gift, of very passionate, very vocal consumers that consume our products. They constantly give us feedback, and they push us, they drive us to be better and reach for more. Pair this with the advancements of technologies. We've heard, and I'm sure you've heard and talked a lot about AI this week. We also see computer graphic advancements. We feel deeper social connections. But what will it mean for the future of gaming? Imagine a universe, a network, that is so expansive and so intelligent and so realistic that you will go from game experience to game experience as the same unique character and avatar, with the games recognizing the experiences you've had in other game experiences, with your friends connecting with you wherever you are in worlds so realistic it'll be as if you're in a dream. And the worlds that you'll be able to explore won't just be what we can imagine as game developers, it's what you are going to imagine. With the applications of machine learning, worlds in the metaverse will react to you. Entirely new imaginary dreamscapes built on your settings, your stories, your interests, and of course, your friends. And I believe within the next 10 years, this will be very real. So I've shared with you my optimism for gaming and the impact that gaming is going to have on the generations as they inherit this world. And I'm clearly excited about the future of gaming. But one of the things that is most profound and has me most excited as all of this comes together is how ubiquitous gaming is going to become in the world. More than 5 billion people have mobile devices today. More than $90 billion was spent on mobile apps last year, and 75% of that was spent on games. This result is going to be explosive growth in global gaming. Let me give you a couple more proof points. China will soon overtake Western world as the second largest region in terms of revenues from esports. The online gaming market in India is expected to grow to $1 billion next year, which is a 300% increase from just a few years ago. In Africa, the number of gamers has grown from 23 million to 500 million in the last 5 years alone, thanks to the dramatic growth of smartphones. So as the benefits of play become more universal and gaming expands to more people, this will empower a generation of creative and critical thinkers who are ready to take on the world. And when I think about a future powered by games, I feel the same kind of confidence that Warren Buffett does when he sees the prospects for the new crop of babies and rising generations who are just beginning to make their mark. The challenges of our world today are real, and they are daunting. But like most gamers, I believe in the power of hope and optimism, because I believe and I see every day the power of play. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to share some footage of some gamers for you.
Hey guys, we just crushed it in Anthem. Freaking love The Sims.
That's dope.
I'm so freaking blown away.
Eat them.
Yo, we look so cool.
Hey.
So thank you for your time, everyone, and thank you to the show organizers and the City of Toronto for hosting such an innovative and diverse event. It gives me great optimism for the future, and I hope I shared just a few points for even more reasons to be optimistic and hopeful for an exciting future. Thank you very much.